Hello and welcome to the second video. This is a follow-up of the previous video, the rule of orders, or order of operation as we called it. In here we're going to be able to convert some sort of equation or mathematical functions, so we'll be able to convert those into an actual formula in Excel. Excel, of course, as we have said before, it's divided into cells, and we have many of those cells. If you wanted to know, it's very easy to go ahead and figure out that. If I click the control down arrow, it will take you all the way to the last row, which is over 1,000,000 row. And of course I could go ahead and press control up bar arrow. It will take me back to the tab of that column, and we could go all the way to the left, so control right arrow will take me all the way to the last columns in the sheet. Of course, we could easily go to the options, and we'll be able to actually show the formula here just to show you quickly how many columns we have in numbers instead of letters. So it's 16,384. And if I wanted to know exactly how many of those cells in per sheet, it will surprise you. So if I go ahead and say go to all the way to the left, and it did go all the way to the left behind the image here. If I say 1,000,000 approximately for the rows multiplied by over 16,000 for the column, it's going to give me a little bit over 16 billion. Yeah, a little bit of 16 billion cells per sheet. So we have enough to really not to worry about having enough cells per sheet, and not to mention that we have as many sheets as we would like per book. So we're going to go ahead and start by looking at the cell. Every cell has its own cell address. In this case, I have to go back and change the cell address to the traditional way. I don't like to use the formula. I mean rows column. I wanted to have that traditional way of referring to the cell by a column followed by the number of the row. So here, if I in the cell, a lot of things could go in here. Labels is very common. If I say here, let's say radius, that's a word. It's going to be a label for a value. All text-based values, string, words are going to be left aligned. If I put here 9 as a radius, 9 is going to be a number, and as a result it's going to be right aligned. Of course, I was working with this cell earlier, so it was formatted with 2 digits to the right of the decimal points. I could go ahead and eliminate those decimal points and have it as 9 if I would like to. Something else we need to be aware of before we continue with this: if you put a date, and date is easily be obtained if you put, for example, 09, let's say 29, 2013, and that is going to turn it into a number, because I did format this backward cell into a number, but I wanted to go ahead and change it into a date. And of course you could go to the number and change it to a date very easily. I'll go ahead and change it to short date. It gets me back. What does that prove to me? It proves to me that this is actually a number. So all dates are a number, because we could see later that we could use those mathematically in order to subtract the dates from each other to find how many days have elapsed and how many months as a result, and how many years. Many different calculations. So also in the cell, something like calculation would go. For example, if I wanted to raise the 9 to the second power, it's going to be F3 raised to the second power. So this is a formula, this is date, this is a number, and this is a string or a word, text, whatever you want to call it. I like to call it text for consistency. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and delete everything, because I'm trying to show you in here how to calculate certain things. If I have a sphere, and I'm getting this from NASA, the sphere has its own volume, and the volume is going to be calculated based on pi, which is a Greek letter, multiplied by the diameters of the sphere raised to the third power, and the whole thing is divided by 6. So we need to be aware of where is where is the mathematical operator is going to come. For example, we know if we have no signs of mathematical operation in an equation that indicate multiplication, that d to the raised to the third power, then we have to think about the exponent. Multiplication is asterisk, the forward slash is the division. So what I'm trying to actually figure out, what is the value that I need in order to calculate the volume of a sphere. Obviously, I gotta come up with certain labels. I need to have pi. Pi could be assigned as a constant. Here I'm actually getting away from the right position. Again, here I have put date here earlier, so it's going to treat it as a date. It's no big deal. We could go ahead and change that to number. So you're going to get this sometimes based on who sent you the sheet or how did you work on the sheet earlier. You might get different formatting. No big deal. You could easily change it from the number, the group, as we call it. Of course, there's a lot more to number than this by clicking on this one here, which is the dialog box, which we have a lot more formatting than what the little group of number offer us. Anyway, to go back to this, also pi can be used as a function, believe it or not. That's built inside Excel. If I say pi and put 2 parentheses and hit enter, notice I have a 3.14159.265, and maybe I could get even more, no, 454, which is going to give me really more accuracy, more precision, because we know if we have a real value, meaning a value that is allowed to have the decimal point along with it, it's going to be able to show more accuracy if I have more digit to the right of the decimal points. Then we have the diameters, and I'm going to go ahead. If I do really wanted to spell my word, fearing that I might have spelled it, I press F7, which is going to actually tell me if I spelled that word correctly. Obviously, I did. So let's say the diameter is 6, and now we are able to do the volume of the sphere. So we're going to say volume of sphere, and also we're going to go ahead and worry about why this actually attacked the second column J. The best thing to do is to go ahead and select all these and go to the wrap text, and it's really easier for me to really wrap the text and make it really good. I could go ahead and even click select all the column from the top and click between any two columns. It will give me only how far I need or how much I need when it comes to the width of the columns. So here we're going to actually look at this here and translate it into here. So the volume of the sphere is pi, which is, I'm going to take this one here because it's more accurate, and multiply, which I have to put the asterisk. And notice I'm going to go to the diameters and raise that to the third power. But I forgot to do something, that the whole thing here is divided by the constant 6. Okay? So here we go. This is my volume of the sphere when the diameter is going to be, actually diameter is misspelled. I don't know why it was. Let me go ahead and do that again with the F7. Do you want to continue? Here we go. Now, actually it was it was diameter. Okay, let's go back to this one here. If I go ahead and say 6, if I change that diameter to 7, it's going to change it. If I change that to 9, it's going to change it, and so forth. Alright, so we could continue to do that. If I have the cube is the volume of one side. I'm going to go ahead and do that side for the cube, and it's going to be allowing me to say the 5.8, the cube. And the volume of the cube, where all the sides are equal, volume of the cube, is going to be this value raised to the third power. When we do anything raised to the third of power or third of any value, we must use the caret sign. Okay, and here we go, with which we get actually 195 with the ability of recalculating that volume if the side became so huge. So 89. So we need to be able to do that. Again, click twice on the cell in order to see the formula, or better yet, if you wanted to see the calculation behind the scene, just hit F2, the function F2. It will get you back in the editing mode for that calculation. Let's continue and see what we need for calculating the cylinder. The cylinder is pi d2, which means diameter raised to the second power, multiplied by the height. We have really here more than one variable, and divide the whole thing divided by 4. So what we're going to do here, we're going to say here diameter for the cylinder, and we're going to have the height, and also I'm going to hit F7 to make sure that the spelling is correct. I'll go ahead and run the spelling at the end of it. So spell checker is completed, and now the volume is going to really be based on the fact that I have to, first of all, to give the diameter 7, the height, let's say 4, and this one here is going to be this one here, okay, where I'm clicking my mouse. It's going to be on the mouse. I'm going to go ahead and click equal, open parentheses. I'm going to go ahead and put the pi directly in the calculation, pi multiplied by this. Now I'm using the pi as part of the calculation instead of having it as a separate cell by itself, raised to the second power. I'm following exactly what I need to do in order to convert that equation into something we call formula in Excel. So G10 raised to the power of 2, it doesn't matter what is the cell address. I'm not typing it myself. I'm using the mouse to click on it. That's multiplied by the height, so asterisk height, and the whole thing is divided by 4. And as a result, we got this. I wanted to limit my result to only 2 digits to the right of the decimal points. I could go ahead and decrease, as you see here, the number of the digit to the right of the decimal points. And we could continue to find out the volume for the rectangular prism, which is, here we go, it's just one here in the corner, in the lower right corner of this shape or picture from NASA. And we're going to go ahead and have actually a which is length. Let's go ahead and put that the whole word. I like more meaningful word when I do this, length with height. And let's assume I'm making up those values, 5, 8, and 9. And we're going to go ahead and get the volume for of rectangular prism. Okay, and there's so much here to do because there's we need to do the wrapping text. It's too big. Actually, we need to really make it. Yeah, that's good. And I could go ahead and do this one here, certain color from the style, and I could do that different color also from the style. You could go ahead and make it a little bit more, better looking. Here we go. You could do that, and you could go ahead and highlight all of them and drag them all to the same width. So maybe the last one is a little bit. Here we go. And we can go ahead and do that a little bit here. Okay. This one has the 3 variables. We have the height and the other one has only 2 variables, or some of them has 1, like the column. Anyway, it's up to you to how you want to present it. That's completely up to you. So it's going to be here the length multiplied by the width multiplied by the height. Since I'm notorious for misspelling my stuff, I'm going to go ahead and run the whole thing here just to make sure none of that is going to really be going away with that checking. So I hit F7, which is checking all the spelling. The same thing for the spelling can be obtained directly from, I'm going to go ahead and click out preview and spelling also as well. You will see. All right, so this is going to really give you a good idea about how to convert anything from an equation, whether it's business or mathematical, engineering, scientific, it doesn't matter. Once you see a multiplication, always use the asterisk. Once you see the division, always use the /. Once you see the exponent, use the caret sign. Make sure that you follow the rule of order when you group things. If a division has to be done before even exponents, put the parentheses around the division. If the addition needs to be done before the division, put the parentheses around the addition, because if you don't put the parentheses, it's going to follow the rule of order as plain as it gets, and you're going to get really into trouble. I hope you enjoyed this videos, and we're going to continue with more videos to come. So the next video is going to delve directly into Excel and see how Excel does magical work when it comes to calculating and crunching number. Thanks again.